Hi, sweeties. I've got a good one for you. Upside down Vidalia onion cornbread. Oh my goodness. This recipe will have your family, friends, everybody going crazy. I mean, it's got sweet Vidalia onions, Georgia grown. It's got broccoli, bacon, and it is super moist thanks to one special secret ingredient. Let's get into it. This broccoli cornbread was inspired by my Aunt Ethel Mae. She is passed on, but she used to make a broccoli cornbread that was so super moist and delicious. Hers used Jiffy corn muffin mix, and I thought that was too sweet, so I used my own combination of cornmeal and flour and just a little bit of sugar just to knock the harshness off of the cornbread, if you know what I mean. Cornbread with no sugar can be a little harsh, and hers didn't have like the onions in the upside down, and it didn't have bacon. It wasn't all that, so it's a little different, but it is inspired by my late Aunt Ethel Mae. I'm going to use this mandolin type slicer, and please always use the guard with it so that you don't cut your fingers. I don't want your fingers anywhere near that blade. Beautiful, even slices. Melt the butter in a 12-inch cast iron pan, then take it off the heat. With the stove turned off, lay those onion rings in the pan nice and flat. Now turn your pan onto medium heat and cook the onions for about 5 minutes until they start to brown and caramelize just a bit. You don't have to worry about flipping them, stirring them. They are thin enough so that they will get cooked in that hot butter. It's going to be good. The onion rings that didn't fit into the pan, just go ahead and chop them up fine, and we're going to add those to our cornbread batter. Squeeze any water out of the chopped, thawed, frozen broccoli, and then you can chop that up even smaller. Let's get our dry ingredients mixed up. We've got our yellow cornmeal, some flour, whisk that together just to combine. A little bit of sugar, and we don't want it to be super sweet, but we do want to just sweeten it a bit. I think it takes a little bit of the harshness out of the processed cornmeal. Our salt, and the recipe will be in a description box, so you can get that there. Baking powder. And let's mix that all up so it's nice and well blended. We'll set that to the side, and then we'll get our wet ingredients: cottage cheese and eggs. Get our eggs in there. No shell. I'm going to beat those up a little bit. I'm going to add our 2% cottage cheese. This is a small curd cottage cheese. Now, I know a lot of people say that they do not like cottage cheese, but you're not eating it just straight cottage cheese out the bowl. Cottage cheese really adds a lot of moisture to the cornbread. Then we can add in our dry ingredients. And stir it up. You can switch to a wooden spoon to stir it. And this makes a nice thick batter. We add in our broccoli. If you're using chopped up bacon, add that. And about a 1/4 cup of finely chopped onions. Stir that all up. It's like a whole meal in itself. That's about the consistency that you want. If it is really thicker than this, then you can add milk a tablespoon at a time until you reach this consistency. Whole milk or 2% milk is fine. Our onions are cooked nicely. I'm gonna shut off the heat. Then we're gonna spoon in our cornbread batter. And you want to be gentle when you spoon it in because you don't want to disturb those onions. You don't want to mess up the pattern. We've got our cornbread batter in our cast iron skillet. Let's pop it in the oven. I like to bake it in the lower part of the oven so it can help that crust get nice and brown. Look at that, our cornbread is out of the oven and you can even see around the side how it gets that nice dark brown crust. And you're really only going to get that from a cast iron pan, so it's well worth the investment. We're going to let this cool for a few minutes before we turn it out of the pan. It'll make it a lot easier to handle. I'll run a knife around the side. Run a knife around the side just to make sure that it's not stuck in any places. That feels good. All right. Now's the moment of truth. Let's see. Everything works like it should. Put that plate on top. Hold it carefully on both sides. Could you hear it? Let me let you get a close-up before I take this pan off because you're going to want to see this. Watch. Whew. Don't that look pretty? Our onions are nice and browned. We got that beautiful crust on our cornbread. Man, that is good to go. Whew, look at the crust on that. I mean, you're only going to get a crust like that from cast iron. And you don't have to buy an expensive one. Ooh, oh, there's a little piece of bacon hanging. Guess what? I'm going to eat it. So good. You can see the broccoli, big chunks of bacon. Oh, man. Let's catch the other side. Wow. It's good. It's moist. Subscribe to Sweet Savant. Make this recipe. Make it for Christmas, Thanksgiving, Sunday dinner. You're going to love it. Any day of the week. It's good. Y'all have a delicious day.